What if the deadliest act of terrorism in U.S. history did not come from overseas networks, foreign ideologies, or distant battlefields, but from within America itself? On April 19, 1995, the Oklahoma City bombing shattered a dangerous assumption that the greatest threats to national security always come from the outside. In less than 10 seconds, a single truck bomb destroyed the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building, killing 168 people, including 19 children. It remains the deadliest act of domestic terrorism in American history. But beyond the numbers lies a deeper, more uncomfortable question. How did a homegrown extremist reach this point, undetected, unchallenged, and ultimately unstoppable? This case forces us to confront the nature of domestic radicalization. Unlike foreign terrorist groups with visible structures, domestic extremists often operate alone or in small, loosely connected networks. Criminology research shows that lone actor terrorists are harder to identify because they blend into ordinary society, leaving fewer intelligence signals. Studies after the 1990s revealed that warning signs often exist, but are fragmented across institutions that fail to connect the dots. Historically, the Oklahoma City bombing also marked a turning point. It pushed the U.S. government to reassess internal security, extremist monitoring, and the balance between civil liberties and surveillance. Years before 9/11 shifted the global focus to international terrorism. Yet many of the ideological currents behind the attack never disappeared. In fact, scholars note that domestic extremism tends to rise during periods of social polarization, economic anxiety, and mistrust in institutions. So the real question is not just what happened in Oklahoma City, but what did we fail to learn from it? Can a democracy protect itself from enemies within without eroding its own values? And are we better prepared today, or repeating the same blind spots under new names? This video invites you to look beyond the explosion and into the ideas, systems, and warning signs that still matter now. On April 19, 1995, Oklahoma City awoke to a day like any other. Sunrise painted the sky, and people went about their routines, unaware of the tragedy about to unfold. The city's heartbeat was steady, its streets filled with commuters, parents dropping off children, and workers heading to their offices. But at 9:02 a.m., everything changed in an instant. A massive explosion ripped through the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building, shattering the morning calm and sending shockwaves across the city. The force of the blast was felt for blocks, windows shattered, and alarms blared as chaos erupted. The blast, triggered by a Ryder truck packed with a deadly mix of fertilizer and fuel, tore the heart out of downtown Oklahoma City. The destruction was immediate and overwhelming, leaving a scene of devastation and confusion. In a matter of seconds, routine turned to chaos. Smoke billowed into the sky, debris rained down, and panic swept through the streets. Sirens wailed as emergency workers rushed to help, and terrified citizens searched for loved ones. This was no accident. It was a deliberate act of terror. The bombing was a calculated attack on the U.S. government, meticulously planned and timed to coincide with the anniversary of the Waco siege. Investigators and federal agents quickly descended on the scene, piecing together the evidence of a homegrown plot. The date was chosen for its symbolism, a message of retaliation from the bomber, meant to echo past conflicts and send a chilling warning to the nation. The attack became the deadliest act of domestic terrorism in American history, claiming 168 lives, including 19 children, and injuring hundreds more. The nation mourned as the scale of the tragedy became clear. It was an assault not by a foreign enemy, but by an American against his own people, a betrayal that stunned the country and shattered its sense of safety. The Murrah Building, once a symbol of public service and community, was left a ruin, its walls torn open, its offices reduced to rubble, and its legacy forever changed. The bombing forced the nation to confront the reality of homegrown extremism and the vulnerability of its own institutions. Communities gathered in grief, holding vigils and searching for answers in the aftermath. The ordinary day ended in horror, forever changing how America viewed its own security and the threats that could come from within. Survivors and families of victims would carry the scars for years to come. It was a wake-up call the country could not ignore, a moment that demanded reflection, resilience, and a renewed commitment to protecting one another. Timothy McVeigh's bomb, constructed from 5,000 pounds of fertilizer and fuel oil, was a weapon of unimaginable power. In a matter of seconds, it unleashed devastation on a scale rarely seen on American soil, forever altering the lives of thousands. The explosion tore through downtown Oklahoma City, carving a massive crater in the street and obliterating the Murrah Building's entire north face, leaving behind a haunting scene of twisted steel and shattered concrete. In an instant, 1/3 of the building collapsed, trapping hundreds inside. The blast wave shattered windows and damaged more than 300 nearby structures, spreading chaos and destruction across several city blocks. The human toll was staggering: 168 lives lost, including 19 innocent children in the building's daycare center. Families were torn apart, and a community was left in mourning, struggling to comprehend the scale of the tragedy. More than 680 people suffered injuries, many with wounds that would change their lives forever. Hospitals were overwhelmed as doctors and nurses worked tirelessly to treat the wounded. Survivors, dazed and dust-covered, stumbled through smoke-filled streets, desperately searching for loved ones amid the chaos and confusion that followed the blast. First responders and ordinary citizens alike rushed into danger without hesitation, pulling survivors from the rubble and risking their own lives to save others. The city became a scene of heartbreak and heroism, as grief and courage mingled in the faces of those who refused to give up hope. In the initial hours, emergency crews and volunteers worked frantically in a desperate race to save as many lives as possible, their efforts illuminated by flashing lights and the sounds of sirens. The scale of destruction was almost unimaginable. Entire city blocks were reduced to rubble, and the heart of Oklahoma City was left scarred and forever changed. In the aftermath, Oklahoma City would never be the same. The memory of that day endures, a testament to both the tragedy and the resilience of a community determined to heal. Timothy McVeigh, a Gulf War veteran, masterminded the attack. Disillusioned with the government, he was radicalized by anti-government literature and events like Ruby Ridge and Waco. McVeigh saw the bombing as revenge, a strike against what he viewed as tyranny. He enlisted Terry Nichols, who helped gather bomb materials and plan the attack. Michael Fortier, another Army friend, knew of the plot, but stayed silent. Their ideology was fueled by conspiracy theories and extremist tracts like the Turner Diaries. They believed violence would spark a wider uprising. The bombing was the deadly result of paranoia, hate, and twisted patriotism. The bombing stunned the nation, sending shockwaves through every community and household. For many Americans, it was a moment when the unthinkable became reality, and the sense of safety that had been taken for granted was suddenly shattered. It shattered the illusion that terrorism was only a foreign threat, revealing that violence and hatred could emerge from within our own borders. The fact that an American veteran was responsible was a profound shock, challenging assumptions about who could commit such an atrocity. Oklahoma City, a symbol of small-town America, was suddenly thrust into the global spotlight, its quiet streets forever changed. It became a symbol of vulnerability, a reminder that tragedy can strike anywhere, even in the heartland. The image of the destroyed building, its concrete and steel twisted by the blast, became an icon of loss and devastation. The loss of 19 children in the daycare, their innocence stolen in an instant, deepened the nation's grief and outrage. These images seared themselves into the national memory, haunting the collective conscience of America. The attack forced Americans to confront the reality of homegrown extremism and to question how such hatred could take root. It exposed the dangers of hateful rhetoric and conspiracy theories, showing how words can fuel violence and destruction. The bombing was not just an attack on a building, but a direct assault on the lives, hopes, and dreams of countless families. It left scars on families and the future, changing the way Americans viewed their own communities. The nation was forced to reckon with the consequences of unchecked extremism and to consider how to prevent such tragedy from happening again. The psychological wound left by the bombing has yet to fully heal, lingering in the memories of survivors and the hearts of all who remember that day. It remains a painful lesson in the cost of hate, and a solemn reminder of the importance of unity, compassion, and vigilance. In the aftermath, Oklahoma City responded with extraordinary unity. First responders and volunteers worked tirelessly, risking their lives to save others. The Oklahoma Standard was born: compassion, resilience, and selflessness in the face of tragedy. People donated blood, food, and comforted grieving families. The rescue effort lasted 16 days, shifting from hope to solemn recovery. The community's response became a powerful counter to the hatred behind the attack. Instead of division, the bombing inspired unity and resolve. Oklahoma City refused to be defined by tragedy, but by its response. Their resilience became a national inspiration. The investigation moved swiftly, tracing the Ryder truck to McVeigh. He was arrested within hours, and evidence quickly linked Nichols and Fortier. The trials were closely watched. McVeigh was convicted and executed in 2001. Nichols received life without parole for his role. Fortier, who testified against them, served over 10 years. The legal process brought a measure of justice to the victims' families. The investigation showcased the determination of law enforcement. The bombers' goal to undermine government was met with accountability. Justice, though somber, was served. The Murrah Building site became the Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum. Designed with input from victims' families, it honors those killed, those who survived, and those changed forever. The reflecting pool and field of empty chairs are powerful symbols of loss and hope. Each chair represents a life lost, illuminated at night in solemn tribute. The museum tells the story of the bombing, the investigation, and the city's recovery. It educates new generations about the dangers of political violence. The bombing is now taught in Oklahoma schools. Documentaries and memorial events keep the story alive for a global audience. Survivors and families are committed to remembrance and education. The memorial ensures the world never forgets April 19, 1995. The Oklahoma City bombing was a warning about domestic terrorism that still resonates. Anti-government extremism has evolved, amplified by the internet and social media. Violent rhetoric and conspiracy theories continue to inspire attacks. Security at federal buildings was transformed. Barriers, screenings, and new laws became the norm. The threat remains, as seen in later plots and attacks across the country. The bombing changed how America thinks about safety and openness. The AFGE warns that demonizing civil servants can have deadly consequences. The line between heated rhetoric and violence is dangerously thin. The ruins of the Murrah Building are a reminder to stay vigilant. Rejecting extremism is essential for national unity and safety. The Oklahoma City bombing is a story of tragedy and hard-won lessons. Remembering honors the 168 victims and the community forever changed. The attack shows the danger of extremist ideology and hateful rhetoric. It's a call to challenge conspiracy theories and foster civil discourse. The Oklahoma Standard, resilience and compassion, became a national symbol. Even in darkness, unity and goodness can prevail. The legacy is a call to vigilance against all forms of domestic terrorism. Future generations must learn what happened and why it matters. Supporting democracy and respectful dialogue is more important than ever. The lessons of April 19, 1995 remain urgent today. By remembering, we recommit to peace, justice, and community.